Okay, we're recording, but I'm using an HTC camera phone. Should be 5 megapixels, under fluorescent light. The display on the device isn't the best. However, I have been disappointed in the images that come from it. Now, the purpose of this is not really to show construction, but debugging and fault finding. And so this is looking at a fairly low level along the track, and at the front edge of the baseboard. I have, as far as possible, got these baseboards lined up so that they are fairly straight, but there are 3 baseboard joins along this run, and at each baseboard join there's potential for derailment or problems. And the engine you can see out there in the distance is a Railroad 9F. I'm going to set that running and we'll see where it meets problems. Most of the scenic section of this railway, if I turn it, no, let's not turn it that way, have been very well laid, and trains run nice and smoothly across it. It's just at the baseboard joins, and I'll say a little bit more about what are the problems I've detected there. Pause now. This is the old Duet controller that I'm using for what I'm calling the up and down lines. You can see there the digital controller, and this track mimic shows the up and down lines, and also a branch line, which is the line that's connected to the digital controller. An analog engine, very smooth running straight out of the box, railroad range. However, it does have 8 driving wheels, and it's said to go around radius 2 curves. There's a slight slope on the shed, so in fact it goes faster downhill than uphill. This is going through the fiddle yard, which is at the back of the operating well. The extension between the fiddle yard and the scenic portion has got 2 track joins. Here I've connected it with fish plates, so alignment shouldn't be a problem. I think there's a little bit of issue with current getting through there. Just increase the current. Back onto the scenic portion again, but once it starts sloping downhill. So a little bit of jumping there, a little bit of a jump on the track joint. Point potentially derails the front driving wheel, which is then exacerbated as it comes over here. It corrects itself. All wheels appear to be in good contact with the rails. And so, apart from the problem of getting the current through, I can get around the front of it if you like. People like to see the front of trains, don't they? Goes over those points forwards. Okay. I'll try cleaning that bit of track. The controller itself is set to a very low current, so this particular engine runs very well on low current. It starts its uphill pull, and it stopped there. Rather than increase the current, I'm going to give it a little nudge. And in fact, we can see that it has derailed enough of the sorry, it's 10 driving wheels, 5 on each side. But I've just cleaned that track with the track rubber. So very slow there. Don't know if that's a gauging problem. Current problem. Not sure. So there's something there. We're going to see what happens at this point. Slight bump over the join. It went over smoothly then. But it's coming around the curve. It didn't derail any of the wheels. That time. Probably quite a tight curve for it. The gauging is such that there's seems to be plenty of play, but I think the curve in that track is at the limit of what this can cope with. I know if I put some more power in, it will actually go, but it is the fact that the front wheel, front driving wheel, is over the track. It's now derailed, it's running quite well, but won't need much. It's continuing to run with the front driving wheel derailed. It's at this point now where it's got that, so it's on that tight curve. Now it's fully derailed, it won't cope at that point. Back on track. Right. I'm not sure if the closeness or the resolution is going to help, but this is the derailleur point. I don't think it's just the actual curvature, but it's possibly that combined with the horizontality of the track, because that front driving wheel, at that point, it managed to get itself back into the tracks. So it's lifted out at the moment. Now, for reverse running, the engine itself runs beautifully smoothly. At that point, obviously, it's derailed, so that was the controller. Stop it. Right, bit of adjustment there, hasn't made that better section. I do hope these pictures are clearer than they appear on the display of this HTC wireless player. Right, clear problem there. Sometimes rather difficult to see exactly the point at which it derails, because it will run happily with a couple of the wheels, the driving wheels, the flanges on the wrong side of the rails. But at this point down here, right, so the issue was, as it came around that curve again, the front set of driving wheels, in this case towards the cab end, lifted off the track and were therefore not in the right position when it hit the point. Right, the question is, how do we check the levelness of track when it's on a curve? I thought I'd try the back of the saw, but the handle gets in the way, can't get it down level. But using the teeth points of the saw, it's clear to see two things. One is at the join, at the baseboard join, there's a definite rise. I'm rocking it now over the baseboard join, and also a little bit further on, just after you've got a bump or elevation of the track, sharp elevation, you also have a sharp dip in the track. That's at this point, and that's near where there is a nail hole, because there's a second-hand track, and therefore when it was first laid, because it's been lifted and relaid, it's quite possible, highly likely, that the rail was hit and that's caused a depression right there. Pointing in the wrong place. The depression is just there. The nail hole's there, so the hammer's completely missed it. And there's a dip down there in the rail. And I think those two things combined conspire to derail the wheel.
The train continues to run.
Just to show that if all wheels are properly placed on the track, it has no problems at all going over the point. So if there's anything, I'm going to let it run round. Sing it down a bit so it doesn't. Now what I've done back here is just gently bend the track to try and get rid of the dip. I've done nothing about the join between the two boards where there's the hump. So I'm seeing if getting rid of the dip is enough to stop it derailing. Whoa! Not quite. Right, result of that test. I've got rid of the dip, or eased the dip, but it derails over that hump in the track just about each and every time. You can see the wheel there. It's no longer properly in the track. So the wheels aren't too bad. They're still in the track. But that front one came out, and as soon as it hit the point, that's going to just derail the whole engine. Right, I've done some levelling of the baseboards. This is the troublesome bit. The 9F moving through nicely. And it comes back over the baseboard join, which has been trouble before. Derailed it before the point and smoothly through. I'm moving it rather quickly now. Just checking that everything's fine. So, evenness of track of the vertical plane, extremely important in terms of derailment, particularly on corners. Bit stiff there. Might need track tuning a bit. Okay, let's see if we get a good shot of it coming along. Okay, there you go.